Kuwa mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima, kuwa mshindi, kuwa na uhakika sasa, kulea mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Kenya.
All right, welcome back. And now we are getting into our favorite segment where we talk about agriculture and different matters, where we usually have a guest. And of course, today we have with us Momanyi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
Yes, she is the CEO and founder of IPOP Africa. She is Dora Momanyi, joining us to discuss about value chain. And of course, from the start of the show, we were talking about value chain. We were talking about how different youths or people who are engaging in agriculture can add value into the products that usually come out of the farm. And of course, you do value chain. Just give us a little bit about the history about how you started the value chain and what really prompted you and encouraged you to even just follow this path.
Thank you very much, Nyakundi. So value addition is something I learned from university. I did my research. I'm a food scientist and nutritionist. Okay. So value addition is something I have learned all through undergraduate and my master level. And when I was doing my research, I wanted to see what is the role of baobab in food and nutrition security. But eventually do a product from baobab. You know, baobab is one very healthy product, but also with great economic potential. But in Kenya, for example, in Kitui, where I did my research, you can buy a whole bag of 90 kgs of baobab at 200 shillings. But if you travel to Europe, in Germany, for example, you will buy a 1 kg jar of baobab at 1,000 shillings. So then what are we missing? What is the question? What are our farmers not doing? Okay. But also the county is an arid and semi-arid region and has potential to grow sorghum and millet, the products we value add. They are drought tolerant. Okay. But the county still grapples with food and nutrition insecurity. It grapples with malnutrition. But they have a very high nutrient dense product. Then how can you use this product? That is how we thought of doing value addition and allowing even the young people in this locality to appreciate sorghum. You know, sorghum and millet has always been consumed either in porridge or in ugali. But now, how can we make this product exciting? You know, we have millennials, we have Gen Z now. Yes. They do not care about ugali and porridge, but we want them to eat sorghum, we want them to eat millet. Then we now apply a technology to transform the sorghum, the millet, into a popped snack product. You know, like we do popcorn, but we are importing popcorn. But we are growing our sorghum and millet, and a farmer growing sorghum and millet, the income they get from sorghum and millet is very small. Now, what can we do if we offtake the sorghum and millet? Then we will give the farmer a good price. Yes. And the farmer will reap the benefits of growing sorghum and millet, a crop which has always been viewed as a traditional crop, a crop for the ancestors. They scorn it away. They do not want that crop. But now we are trying to give it value through value addition.
All right, thank you so much for elaborating that and what really encouraged you to even get into this. Now, let's look at value addition and some of the products that we usually have on the farm. If a person is growing millet, the way you've mentioned, and also sorghum, remember these are also climate smart kind of crops that can really survive in different kinds of weathers. And now that we have been having a lot of rain and floods for a couple of weeks back, when you look at this and the value of these particular crops and the value addition that goes into it, what is it that Kenyan farmers can learn from these particular different crops that really survive during this climate changes that we usually have?
Yeah, so one of the things we want farmers to appreciate and even other stakeholders in the food value chain, and of course the government, is that we need to be a food sovereign country. Food sovereignty, we mean we are able to produce what we eat. It is always the opposite. We are a net importer of food, including maize and rice, and most of even our policies, you find many, like now we have the fertilizer policy, which is supporting farmers with an input fertilizer.
Yes.
But what if we shift to supporting sorghum and millet, our traditional crops? So the farmers should realize that we need to produce, we need our people to eat what we produce. And then the government should support in terms of policy, in terms of input, so that the farmers, if I am producing sorghum as a smallholder farmer in Kitui, I am able to move my sorghum from Kitui to a processor who is IPOP Africa in Nairobi. Then the transportation, all those charges on the road should be made easier for me. As a farmer, a smallholder farmer, I need maybe to be supported to get, you see, once you harvest your millet has a very good yield or production. So from a quarter farm, you can produce a lot of millet, which you might not sell. So we need also to support smallholder farmers with storage technologies.
Yes.
For example, the hermetic bag. A farmer can store their sorghum for a whole 6 months until they are able to produce in the next season.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really a big call to all stakeholders to support smallholder farmers to bring back the glory of our traditional indigenous grains that are climate tolerant. Okay.
And speaking of indigenous grains that we have, is it only sorghum and millet that can be value added? What are some of the other indigenous crops that we have that we can add some value and also it can be a profit to the farmer?
Sure. So we have cassava. Cassava is a high value crop which we have underutilized for a long time. It can be used as flour. It can go through secondary processing and even tertiary processing levels we have not gotten into as a country. We need to move to that. But we also have sweet potato. You know, we look at sweet potato being sold or in Barabarani and we're like, no, I can't eat this thing. But
Yes.
Sweet potato is now being transformed, is being bio-fortified. We have the orange-fleshed sweet potato. We have the purple-fleshed sweet potato. So during biofortification, these crops, these sweet potato varieties are made to be highly tolerant to disease first, and of course to climate changes. So these are two other crops that farmers can consider growing.
Yes.
And the consumers, I think what we need from the consumer side, from the demand side, is to educate, capacity build, and tell consumers, by the way, for your breakfast, you don't need refined bread. You can get orange-fleshed sweet potato, even grow in your farm if you can, but also support a farmer who is producing, whose sweet potato is rotting in Mudhuro market for your breakfast, for your healthy alternative breakfast. So those are some of the crops that can be value added.
Okay. So a farmer can look at this, or someone at home can look at this and say, okay, value addition really needs some time into it, and it also needs capital injected into it. So for someone who doesn't have a way of value adding, what are some of the simpler ways? Because like the way you've mentioned, something has just come to me, drying fruits. For example, orange drying, banana, and then you use them later on maybe to put them on inside tea and for other different uses. So what are some of the traditional ways that someone can value add their products?
Yeah, so I will talk of value addition at household level.
Yes.
What you can do with sorghum, for example, at your house. You don't need to pop sorghum. You know, popping needs a technology.
Yes.
But you do not have this popping technology. But you can take sorghum, the way we do maize and beans and make githeri, and boil sorghum in your house and eat it. with beans, add beans and eat. That is a common dish in Kitui County or in most arid and semi-arid areas. But they only consider that when they do not have another source of food, especially during dry seasons. But also you can carry your sorghum to a posho mill, to your local posho mill, mill it and bake. You can use sorghum to bake. We have sorghum flour that is used in baking, but you can use it in porridge at household level for your child.
And ugali.
And of course, ugali.
Yes.
Yeah. And what else? What was the other question?
The other question was what are some of the traditional ways, and also drying of different vegetables and also fruits, the drying part.
Yeah. Yeah, so drying is a very simple technology, but yet very powerful, because one, it increases the shelf life of your product. Like in am I using Kitui so much? Because they have so many mangoes.
Yes.
In January, we enjoyed a lot of mangoes, but after that, we do not have mangoes in the season. If you're lucky to find one, it's probably very bitter or very expensive.
Yes.
So drying is a very powerful technology. You can dry your fruits and maybe keep them as people have done mango leathers. You can keep them as mango leathers. You can keep them as chips of a fruit. And you can alternatively dry and mill it and store your powder, your mango powder, which you will use as an additive, a very natural additive in your food, maybe for seasoning or as a soup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very well explained, and at least getting some new insights for the mango leathers that you're talking about. And when you look at rice, areas, you know, in Kenya we have, of course, different areas which are known for different productions of different crops like rice, the millets that we're talking about. So different regions have their own kind of crop that they usually thrive on. And there's something interesting that you're doing with rice.
Yeah.
Just explain to us what you're doing with rice.
Yeah, rice is another amazing crop. But unfortunately in Kenya we import most of our rice, but we have potential of growing our rice, either the white rice or the brown rice. But now, of course, because of consumer awareness and changing in consumer preferences, most consumers are moving from the white rice to the brown rice because of the health effects attached with the brown rice, which is true. So if I tell you to cook brown rice, you'll tell me, no. I'm going to boil it for, is it double the time I'm cooking white rice? But now what we are doing, we basically pop it. We use a technology that pops it without oil. You know, our common popcorn, you have to add your oil before you add your pops for you to get the pops.
Yes.
But now we are popping brown rice as well as white rice. But like I said, the consumer preferences is shifting to the brown rice. So we use a pressure technique. So once you exert pressure to any grain, it should pop. What you need to do is to know at what pressure will rice pop. Yeah.
Yes.
So once we pop the brown rice, we flavor it. Of course, when you're telling somebody you're going to eat a snack from rice, they're like, no.
Yeah.
You tell them whether it's flavored with honey and some lemon powder or some orange powder, what we have talked about, adding value to to fruits.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's flavored with some lemon powder or orange powder. And it's an amazing product, which you can use as a snack. You just unatupa tu kwa mdomo, you enjoy if you're traveling, you don't need to buy fries. Yeah, so you will enjoy a healthy snack that is oil-free, that is gluten-free. Rice is naturally gluten-free. It's not like we remove the gluten. It's not like we use a specific variety of rice, but it is the normal brown rice. So you can eat it as a snack, or you can use it as a breakfast cereal.
Oh,
You
that's
can
interesting.
add your milk or your yogurt and enjoy.
Okay, so you just it doesn't have to go through oil and okay.
Yes.
I would really want to see that one day. I think you just have to take us to your place. At least we see how that is done.
Absolutely.
Now let's look at vegetables.
Yes.
How do we value add on vegetables? Because of course each and every household in Kenya, in a week, or let me say almost every day, there is a vegetable that is eaten in every different household. So how do we value add on vegetables?
Yes. So vegetables is again, a common household will eat ugali, a vegetable. Probably if they have an economic muscle, they will eat a protein in that dish. So it is another product that we need to develop its value chain. And one of the things is through value addition and ways you can value add vegetable. I think one common is drying. I know we have relatives abroad and we see our grandmothers prepare for them vegetables. They just dry the vegetable, package and ship it abroad at household level. But commercially, there are also other young, small SMEs who are drying vegetable and packaging and selling. But besides drying, we have a process called blanching. Blanching is basically dipping your vegetables in warm water or boiling water. It is high temperature. You blanch at high temperature for a short period of time. Basically, you want to destroy the enzymes that will facilitate the decay of a vegetable, so it doesn't turn green, yellow. Yellow. So you basically dip it in high temperature water, which is high temperature, but for a very short time, because you also do not want to destroy the nutrients in the vegetable. So once you do that, then you can freeze your vegetable for future use. Yes.
Right. Very insightful. Now, let's look at food security. Of course, food waste, because in Kenya, so far, 40% of food that is harvested is usually wasted. And you find that this just goes away. It's just left there in the trash bins all over the place, even in the farm. I remember there's a time we're going to a farm where it's a mango farm. The mangoes have fallen down, so the owner has said, you know what, I've just left these mangoes to just go like that. So when it comes to the food that is wasted, what can be done to this particular food in order for it not to even the 40% to even reduce that is wasted?
Yeah, so like you've said, throughout any food value chain, we lose some. Actually, the amount of food we lose can feed our population in the next years, with increasing population. We can be able to feed. In Kenya alone, without importing food, if we use the food that is wasted, we can be able to sufficiently feed our population. So what strategies can we use to reduce food waste and food loss? Food loss is occurring through the value chain, and food waste is occurring at the table where we eat. You serve too much food, you can't finish. So one of the strategy for food waste, we can look at food banks or collecting food from different either eateries at household level. Carry this food and distribute to people who do not, they're actually people who do not have food at all. And we can add value by taking this food, repackage it. Of course, there are many issues around food safety, but we can take this food, maybe reprocess slightly, repackage, and share out the food to places that do not have the food. But also we have had issues of is it Kirinyaga, where we have a lot of tomatoes. And the tomato there is retailing at maybe 1 shilling. But in Nairobi, we are buying a tomato at 20 shillings. So the tomato being sold at 1 shilling in Kirinyaga, it will rot. It's so much. Where are we taking it? You find even the infrastructure to move the tomato is not even available. So what should be done to avoid this waste that is happening here? And in another place, there is scarcity. Then we need to find how to improve in our infrastructure so that we are able to move food from one place where there is surplus to another place where there is none. But one key other thing we need to do is use technology. There are technologies, for example, if it is vegetables, we have places, you can set up a place that is very cool, very traditional, very simple, and you can cool your vegetables, maybe in market centers. Maybe it can be facilitated by policy and government. In market centers, they can set up cold storage places where once my vegetables come, 10 gunias of vegetables, and I'm not able to sell everything, then I can store them there, maybe at a price. I pay maybe tonight I can be charged 50 shillings for my 2 bags of vegetables. So technology is one key strategy. And I also mentioned hermetic bags for storing grains. So it is one key strategy to ensure that we reduce waste throughout the food value chain.
All right. You've mentioned technology, and I wanted to just ask you about the impact of innovations on the value addition kind of industry, and what technology is doing, because we've seen very many innovations, and of course almost every industry these days wants to move into the tech side of everything. So what is technology doing to the value chain or value addition kind of industry?
Yeah, so technology, we might not want to change, but we will have to change to adopt
Yes.
technologies in the food value chain. One, for value addition, for storage, for reducing food waste and losses. So technology is playing immense, it has immense potential, even at farm level. You know, we have seen technologies, this is a drone, we have seen drone technologies at farm level that are automating production, that are reducing the number of farmers that are needed in a farm, but also even those farmers who are there, they have less, the intensity, the energy they're putting into the farm is less, so that even young people start to appreciate agriculture. But then I can go and sit somewhere and, you know, operate my drone and get data and know my maize is being affected by a certain disease and spray, you know, using the drone. So technology could be highly capital intensive, but it is going to be a game changer for the whole food value chain, from production. I have given an example. Through value addition, even when we are adding value in food, for us to transform food to something that most people, the community, appreciates, then we need to have technologies. We have talked of the popping technology. There's a technology called extrusion, drying technology. So those are, though highly capital intensive, where we are calling for support for small entrepreneurs, for smallholder farmers to be supported to adopt these technologies so that we can be able to transform how we produce food, and of course be able to achieve food security and nutrition security in this country.
All right. Thank you so much for just contributing your ideas and also insights into this particular conversation that we are having, that is value chain and how this is improving agriculture. That is Dora Momanyi, who is the CEO and founder IPOP Africa, speaking to us about value chain. And I believe you have learned something today about value chain. That rice that you're seeing at the pantry there, you can also use it to add something to you. All right, so we have come to the end of this conversation, and up to next time, see you. Well, we've come to the end of the show, and of course, we are speaking about value addition. Marion.
Yeah.
What have you learned today? You know, we were visited by Momanyi
Dora,
today,
exactly.
Dora Momanyi, and she was telling us about value addition.
I have learned that rice can pop. And of course, in the same spirit of value addition, now my co-host here, who has been doing an amazing job, recently celebrated his birthday. Look at his face. And we have done, as the Farm Kenya team, we have done some little thing to celebrate you in light, in the spirit of value addition.
In the spirit of value addition.
Of course, being led by our amazing producer, Caroline Karaoke. Abu funga macho, tuone venye unafunga macho. Ta-da! Happy birthday, Calvin.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday. I know you recently celebrated your birthday, but of course you wanted to save the best for the last.
I won't eat this on air, so I'm going to eat it after. Yes.
In case you do not know what it is, this is mabuyu, and it is one of the fruits. Is it a fruit? My producer was telling us that, you know, it's a fruit that is a bit sour and sweet, but we need to research on that and get our facts right.
Kwa comments.
Sindio?
Tell us hapo kwa comments what you think mabuyu is. Is it a fruit or what is it?
Or just a seed, you know?
Yes.
Yes, but of course we've come to the end of our show. Thank you so much for your warm company. And remember to always keep this conversation moving and going forward, even after the show, with the hashtag from Kenya Show, hashtag KTN Welcome Home. You can get me on Marion _ the Agri Producer, Birthday Boy.
And also Kelvin _ Jakundi on X.
Sanionjeshe.
Unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima, kuwa mshindi. Kuwa na uhakika sasa, kukulea mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya.